Okay, today we got to deal with the sun and the transit of the sun. Now, the sun's a pretty fast-moving planet, so we don't normally think of it in terms of watching the main transits or the main factors going on across a person's lifetime, but it still has a definite presence and still can be very useful to know. And there's a lot of things we can learn that stretch our capacity to think astrologically with this. So what's the sun? The sun, on one level, it's your heart. Another level, it's your ego. It's the sunshine. It's the light that's hitting the planet. I mean, the sun is, if the sun were this big-sized medicine ball that you put on one hand, and this huge medicine ball is sitting on your hand, that would be like the sun. And if you had that, you could close your hand around all the other planets combined. You can grab them all like a bunch of seeds or raisins and put them in your hand. So it's incredibly powerful and significant. At the same time, it's, I can't say it's blatant in its influence, but it's, we're usually alive to it. We're not usually thinking about it that much. So you could say it's how you radiate, I like the word confidence about being the sun. It's your confidence, but it's how you radiate confidence, but it could be your ego, what you feel is important. This is your sun. When the sun's going around, it's shedding light. The main light, the ultimate light of the solar system, the 90% of the light from the heavens comes from our sun that hits the planet. And it's that light that keeps us alive and everything. That's the sun. So the sun moving around is our weather. Between the sun and moon, it's our weather. Totally affects us. No, and it's in a way, for a lot of years, I used to think when I was working with the sun seems to be similar to the Mars. So both of them are seemingly energizing, and energizing whatever they touch, because they send, as Mars gets you going or uses force and energy and how you use it. But the sun, it can seem like the force of the energy, but really it's like an affirmation. It's a radiance of confidence. It's a radiance, an affirmation of your aliveness, of your being. So as the sun goes around, it lightens up, it brightens up, it shines on every degree it goes through as it goes around the chart. And whenever it touches a planet, whenever a conjunction of a planet, it sets a main theme, an affirmation of that theme of that planet. Of course, that starts the cycle. When the sun touches the planet, it starts the cycle, and it'll come up and it'll go along to square it, to oppose it, to square it, to come back to conjunct it. And like all the other planets, they have that 4 key turning points in its aspect. But this confidence or vitality, it's a simple thing, but incredibly profound. How confident are you? How much are you tapping into your confidence? Or are you imposing worries or moods or things you didn't get or what you didn't have, or envies, or you're allowing anger or frustration or misunderstandings to come in and stand as more important to you than your heart and your confidence and your radiance? Because everything else is really an argument, something that's distracting you from just being yourself, being confident. So how many things in the heaven I like to pull us away from our confidence? In fact, when we try and analyze the sun in the chart, we're trying to analyze the confidence. It's really not something you can analyze. It's a state of being that has certain priorities: above, below, rising, setting, seasons of the year. Very profound. It's important for you to be your sun and to be in your heart and to be radiating before any of the other planets are working properly, because the planets will just reflect the light of the sun. So on a scale of 1 to 100 right now, how confident are you? Oh, I mean, Leos will always say 100, so that's 100% confident. But when we look at it, there's textures. What clouds are coming in? What obstructions? What attachments are coming in that are diminishing our unconditional radiance? And how often are we measuring our life in terms of the darkness, in terms of things that aren't so much the light? So we have to take the sun kind of like it's our spirit, it's our heart, it's our ability to love and radiate to everyone. And it doesn't have boundaries. Like if you love someone, if that love is real, you have to love everyone. It just grows like that. As soon as you start saying, oh, it's only this person, not those persons, you start putting chains on your heart and on your love, on your confidence. And that puts chains on your creativity, or directs or limits your creativity and where it's going to go. Because the sun is ultimate, essential creative energy. But it's the willpower. I like to see that willpower simply as just the happy confidence. If you have confidence, boy, it's easy to do things. The doing things is the Mars. Doing things without confidence, or with a twisted confidence, or with a damaged confidence, it's going to make it harder to do things, or you're not going to get as much done as someone who's really clear with their confidence. Or if you put your soul into what you're doing and you have your heart and soul in there, who can compete with you and win? Like you put it up to another level. So finding the sun in your chart is the spiritual path. It's all these other things going on. It's all the fluff. And you're trying to eventually get back to your sun. It seems so simple. It seems so simple to do. So there's a very deep mystical side behind this, but it's not what we tend to measure it. We tend to watch it, because when we're looking at the sun, when it goes along and it makes an aspect, you could think it's just on that day, but I like to think an aspect of the sun lasts about the day before, day after. It's about a 3-day period. So your birthday, the day before, the day after, the sun connects your sun, and it's sending light, it's shining light on your own sun. It's affirming your confidence. It's radiating to your being, to your heart. So it's a different energy than Mars. Mars is energy. This is radiance. It's in a way it's a way more powerful energy, but it's radiant. It's just muscles and power and force. So when the sun goes around, so the sun will go around, you got your 10 focus points, sun, moon, and the planets, and then you get your angles. And as the sun goes around, so it's going to hit, so you get 10 with the angles, you got 14 points, or let's just count with the 14 points, and you have 4 times 14, 16, or 56. You have 56 different dynamic points about about affirmation, or struggles with affirmation, or not feeling affirmation, that come up across a year. And so 365 days in a year, you have 56 major factors, and that lasts each 3 days. So it's 150. So there's like you're talking about 150, 160 some odd days that there's something active with them. And now it can be less, because if you have planets conjunct or square or opposed, they're going to pile up and be hit at the same time, or around the same time. So you might get 2 or 3 days or a week or so at a time where a number of planets are being affirmed or energized or radiated by the sun. But I think it's easier to kind of see it just as times of the year when you're confident or not confident. Now, other things can come in and upset confidence to some degrees, but it's still your confidence is your natal sun and being yourself. You can't help but be yourself. You are your sun. and you have all these other things going along, spinning along with you. And so when you so one of the other factors is when you set up a solar calendar and you set up the sun aspects around the chart for a year, those patterns and that calendar you're setting up is going to be valid for every year. Every time from your birthday to your next birthday, it'll be the same days that the sun makes those aspects on. So you don't have to calculate the sun every year of your life. You can calculate for 1 year, and if you're allowing this 3-day, the day before, day after, the day of the aspect, you're allowing that 3 days, it will be including those same 3 days on every year. If you use the one degree orbs and you only just exactly one day, then there might be a slight adjustment as the leap year goes on. They'll be within a day. That aspect will be on that day or the next day or the day before. It'll be more or less at the same time. So, sometimes we feel, I'm born in the fall. Sometimes every time. So I'm almost more alive in the fall and more confident in the fall, and in the springtime, I'm sort of usually struggling a little bit more with like worrying about colds or whatever. Springtime, so it's nice, but it's not as much my season. I don't get my big affirmations don't come at those times. The radiance is opposite mine at those times. So this